Assalamu alaikum everyone, and today we are going to see the history of atomic theory. These days, people knows what an atom is. But back in the ancient times, we didn't know anything about atoms until the first person to propose that there was things called atoms was a Greek philosopher named Democritus. He lived in 460 BCE to 370 BCE. And Democritus says that there are small particles called atoms, because back in the day, Greeks thought that if you cut an apple, there is no end of smallness. But Democritus says that there is a point where you can't cut. It's called, which he called atomus, which means uncuttable. But this was more of a philosophy than a science. Told you he was a philosopher. And there was no evidence at that time to suggest that atoms exist until John Dalton. He will be important in chemistry later on when we talk about ideal gas laws, but he's also important here when he proved atoms. He said that there are actually particles which if they react, can rearrange to form new molecules. And that's where our understanding of atoms started. Suppose if you take a glass of a few amount of water, you will see there will be 1/9 hydrogen and 8/9 oxygen by mass. Which makes total sense if you ask me. Oxygen has an atomic mass of 8. Hydrogen has an atomic mass of 1. So 8 plus 1 is 9, and no matter how many water molecules there are, the oxygen mass and the hydrogen mass doesn't, change. Only what they add up changes, but the fraction doesn't change. So this makes total sense. Here's where, let's suppose we have a few amount of carbon reacting with a few amount of oxygen. If the oxygen was doubled, there would be twice as many oxygen than hydrogen. I mean carbon, if carbon is still familiar. If it's doubled, it would probably make something like carbon dioxide or something, as an example. J.J. Thomson took our understanding of atoms to a completely new level to see a tiny mistake of Democritus. Democritus thought that atoms were the only smallest thing, and we believed that until J.J. Thomson with his cathode ray experiment. Let me write the experiment name here. Cathode ray experiment. He figured out a new particle called an electron, which is smaller than an atom, and it was that he didn't know how these was arranged. So he just proposed his plum pudding model, where electrons and protons arrange. He proposed it, but there was no actual suggesting proof about it. And even though if there was some, Ernest Rutherford came along and extended our understanding of atoms into a whole new level. He performed an experiment which, if you know about, you can leave your guesses in the comment section below. Let's see who does it. He saw in his experiment that when he had a gold foil over a detector, this is a detector, and this was the gold foil, and this was the source of light, the alpha particles passed through like nothing. But some other particles also bounced to the detector in very random directions. Even Ernest Rutherford said that it was like if you shot a tissue paper with a shotgun and the shell bounced right back and hit you. It was like that. So we understood that there was a positively charged proton and an electron orbits it, just like the Earth orbits around the Sun. Now this center area was called the nucleus. And after that, we understood the structure of the atom very well. This is the model of how an atom is arranged. And now this model might be familiar with you if you heard anything remotely related to atoms. This was the structure of an atom that we got to understand, where these are the nucleus and these are the electrons, which orbits around the nucleus. So that's all the history, and now we know a lot about atoms. So let's move on to our atomic study. So that's all there is to it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!